Yuvraj. How are you, man?
Good, man.
Okay.
Okay,
Are you guys?
great. I'm great, man. I want to just just want to get your views quickly on what your thoughts were on the quick thoughts on the IPL as a whole and the winner of it, which was actually KKR. What were your quick thoughts? Starting with you, Yuvraj.
First thing, congrats, Sid. Well done. You called it.
I try.
Yeah, no, they played really well. I'm glad they won it.
Uh-huh.
I have a gripe with SRH, to be honest. I don't like the
Uh-huh.
fact that Umrah Malik doesn't get game time. I hate that fact.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad KKR out at the end.
Okay, and you, Avish?
Yeah, I mean the return of Gigi, Gautam, Gambhir, and I mean what a season for KKR. I think they've been head and shoulders the best team in this tournament. I mean, if you look at their run in the group stages, I mean, they were head and shoulders above the rest. And I mean, the way they performed in this two knockout games, I mean, completely outplayed Sunrisers in both games. I mean, we're talking about the qualifier one and the final, which was a bit lopsided. So, yeah, I mean, convincing and deserved winners in the end.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better. Yeah. Okay, guys, we'll get to the more interesting bit now, which is actually on the upcoming T20 World Cup 2024. And if you look at the groups here, starting from Group A, we'll start with Group A. Yuvraj, what's your thoughts actually on this group? Like, which teams do you feel are going to top this group here?
India and USA, hands down.
So not India and Pakistan. Why is that, man?
Have you seen this USA team? They're gonna
No.
cause a lot of in this World Cup. They're gonna cause a lot of upsets.
Okay, sorry, man. You ever?
Look, USA and USA and the Caribbean. Obviously, USA is a new market for cricket. That's what the ICC is trying to tap in. But unfortunately, I'd have to disagree there. I mean, it's USA and Canada are probably going to finish fourth and fifth in this group. Ireland have been so impressive recently in the warm-ups and stuff. So I think they're going to push Pakistan all the way for that second position.
Okay.
India are probably head and shoulders above the rest when it comes to this group here. So I expect them to finish on top because, I mean, India always beat Pakistan in these tournaments. I mean, it's been going back for so long. But that second spot could be quite interesting. I think that could be a shootout between Ireland and Pakistan because Pakistan haven't been convincing coming into this World Cup, eh? But I mean, you can't write them off in T20 cricket.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's a good thing for USA that they're playing in this tournament. It's I mean, as I say, it's a new market. They're trying to push for cricket to become, one of the, one of the more participating sports in the US. I mean, obviously they're trying to compete with three giants in baseball, NFL, and basketball. But let's see how it goes. It should be a good tournament for the USA. I'm not reading too much into, what happened against Bangladesh and stuff. I just feel, unfortunately, USA is in a really tough group. You've got India, Pakistan, and Ireland. To be honest, I expect them to win the first game against Canada. I expect them to beat Canada because I think they are much better side than Canada, and we've seen it so far. But I think India would top this group, and then obviously Pakistan and Ireland. I mean, that is the last game of the group. This could be a real thriller of a game, and it could swing either way. Yeah, but I mean, I'm optimistic. I mean, Pakistan going into this tournament, they haven't given me much confidence in the way they've been performing. However, it's still Pakistan. You can never write them off. So I would say, just India topping the group and Pakistan probably coming in second, but just but just. I think Ireland is going to push them all the way, and then Ireland to finish third, and USA fourth, and then obviously Canada fifth. So those are my predictions.
You know, it's funny you. Sorry.
I just have to say that's why I said USA is going to cause a lot of upsets, a lot of surprises, and I think Pakistan and Ireland are going to be casualties there.
Well, that will be one hell of a tournament if that were to happen. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
it's so difficult to predict with Pakistan because you never know what you're going to get with Pakistan. I mean, they could be brilliant on one day and they could be absolutely awful on the next day.
Yeah.
They're a really inconsistent team. It's very hard to actually predict what's going to happen.
I like the look of the US bowling attack. That I'm going to tell you up front. I like the look of that attack. I think if the batting of Pakistan is not up to scratch, they're going down to USA.
Yeah, actually, I was hearing from experts that the pitches in the USA are going to be fast, right? And the pitches in the West Indies are going to be slow. So if what you say is true about
if the pitches in the USA are fast, India are off already. They left their fastest bowlers at home.
Sorry, what you said?
India are off already. They left their fastest bowlers at home.
I know, but Bumrah will be playing, and then who's the other bowler? I think Siraj will be bowling there, so it'll be fine. I think they'll be okay. India's got enough class.
Well, with the exception of Bumrah, they've got medium paces. With the exception of Bumrah, they've got medium.
Yeah. But you know, Avish, you mentioned about Pakistan, right? But Pakistan always seem to do well in T20 World Cups, even though they got lucky in the Australian T20 World Cup in Australia. But in the Dubai, they played very well. So they have this knack in clicking at T20 World Cups. So I wouldn't write off Pakistan. In fact, I'm a bit worried for India because if India lose to Pakistan for some bizarre reason, then India might be the ones having to buckle up. Because remember when India lost to Pakistan? Sorry, pardon?
I can give you the name of that bizarre reason. That bizarre reason would be called Harris Ralph.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look, guys, I think the only concern for me with Pakistan is obviously their batting. I mean, their bowling, when they get it right, I mean, they are as good a team as anyone in the world when they get their bowling right. I mean, Pakistan have a good variety in their bowling. It's just that their batting, to me, it seems to be a bit weak. I feel they're very high in anchors. They got a lot of anchors in their team, so they're a team that probably looks at targeting 170, 180 scores. Whereas when I look at this Indian batting lineup, I mean, there is some firepower there with Shivan Dube, Rishabh Pant. So I mean, anything can happen in T20s. Let's be honest. I mean, this is the one. This is the one format where you kind of get the most upsets in terms of teams, and we've seen it in the past already. I mean, this is nothing new. But I mean, India's record against Pakistan in tournaments is really quite impressive. I think. I mean, we talk about this being a really big game and stuff, but I mean, it's kind of lopsided when you look at the numbers. I mean, I think Pakistan had just beaten them probably once. Before, and that was in the UAE. But wherever else Pakistan and India played, it's always been India. So I feel if India do win that game, they will probably go on and top this group. But
definitely.
Personally, I don't think this is going to be India's test. I think India's real test is going to come in the Super 8s, and that could be really tricky. That could be very tricky.
I don't think any team is tested in level 1 in the first group.
Okay.
The first
every
single group has a clear winner and a clear second.
Okay.
I think in every single group, we have a clear winner and a clear second. There is no one to be tested.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to concur with you for Group A, India and Pakistan. So let's go to Group B, which is quite more interesting. Australia, England, Namibia. Okay, now this is kind of boring, this group. I'm going for Australia and England already, guys. And what about you? Starting with you, Yuvraajh.
Yeah, there's no upsets here. It's Australia, England. I'd say England will top Australia second.
You, Avish?
Yeah, I mean, you got two giants here. I mean, England and Australia. I mean, England defending champions.
Yeah.
Australia, I mean, they're looking a lot more dangerous with Travis Head at the top of the order. However, I'm looking at this group here. Yeah, I mean, I really can't see any upsets, but I really fancy England here, hey, to top the group. And I think they have enough to actually take down Australia in that group game as well. Yeah, so I expect England to top this group. Australia second.
Okay.
And obviously Namibia have been, quite impressive in the last couple of years, qualifying for tournaments. You remember they recall the last tournament they beat Sri Lanka to get out of the qualifying and stuff. So that was really, really impressive. So, yeah, I expect them to finish third. And then obviously you've got Scotland and probably Oman finishing fifth there. So, yeah, England and Australia for me, first and second. Probably one of the more predictable groups in this competition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a yawn if you ask me. What about you, Yuvraj? Don't you find this group a bit boring?
If there is going to be an upset, and I highly doubt it, I'd say Scotland.
Okay, I like your optimism, but I'm going to stick to England. And I think it's going to be England or Australia topping 1 or 2. But either way, those two will go through in the group. So I'm going to go to the next. Pardon?
The only thing I would say about Scotland is there's a lot of ex-England internationals that form that team.
Absolutely.
That's why they've got a lot of capability.
Okay, all right. Let's go to Group C, which has got Afghanistan, New Zealand, Papua Guinea, Uganda, and West Indies. This group seemed a little bit more interesting compared to the other groups. This one, I'm going to go with New Zealand and West Indies. But if Afghanistan does come second in this group, it wouldn't surprise me, guys, because Afghanistan is very good at this format T20. So I'm going with that. What about you all? Starting with you, Yuvraj.
I'm going to let my bias come in here.
Okay.
West Indies to win, Afghanistan second.
Wow. And you, Avish?
Okay. I mean, looking at this group, right? I mean, you've got the Windies. The Windies have been on a bit of a downward spiral in the last couple of years, missing out on ICC tournaments and stuff. But having this tournament being at home, and I look at their top order and their lower middle order as well. I mean, you've got King there, you've got Johnson Charles, and then towards the lower end you've got Powell, the captain, and then the big thing for me is Russell, the inclusion of Russell in this team. I think this is a real weapon for them because I mean he was so impressive in the IPL with the bat and with the ball. So. I mean, being at you know what? If I look at this group here, hey, and I look at Afghanistan have been so good in T20 cricket. And if you watch the IPL, which we obviously do, we will obviously identify with a lot of these Afghani players. I mean, Rashid Khan, Noor Ahmed, Mujib. You've got what's this bowler's name? Naveen ul Haq.
Yeah,
when I look at this Afghanistan bowling lineup, and obviously they're playing in the Caribbean, which is going to be a bit slow and low.
Yeah, it's going to suit
They've got one of the best attacks in this tournament, Sid.
Yeah,
and Yuvi, if you look at an all-round attack, they do have bowlers that for these conditions. So,
but to me, is Sunil in the West Indies side?
No, he's not in the West Indies side. But I mean. I think he retired from international cricket some time back, but I do feel the West Indies have enough. Yeah, I do feel the West Indies have enough to get out of this group, hey? So I expect them to finish on top.
Oh, okay.
But the game that really, really is interesting me to an extent is the game between Afghanistan and New Zealand at Guyana. And, we look at New Zealand, and New Zealand don't look like a side with, has that kind of flair that you kind of associate the other big teams with, like the kind of Australias and the Englands. But one thing about New Zealand, they're a very efficient team, and they're consistent. Yeah, absolutely. Consistency in selection is something that obviously, is a big thing with them. So, Afghanistan, I mean, they've made so many strides, and I don't want to say this in a way where if we think Afghanistan is going to finish second, it seems like an upset. And Afghanistan cannot be seen as an upset anymore because they've been playing international cricket for a long time now. And we saw what happened in the 50-over World Cup. They took down some big sides. And I mean, if they won that game against Australia, if it wasn't for the for that innings of a lifetime from Maxwell, who knows what would have happened? Who knows what would have happened?
But he was dropped.
So I just think their basics. Their basics let them down in that World Cup, or they could have easily pushed for a semi-final spot.
Easily,
because I think they probably played better cricket than Pakistan in that World Cup. Afghanistan, they played better cricket than Pakistan. They were really unlucky.
I think they got the best captain in world cricket right now, honestly.
Really? Okay.
Rashid Khan. He's better than
he's an amazing T20 player. I mean, you cannot take this team lightly. You just cannot take this team lightly. I mean, you could have a scenario here where the top three all finish on equal points, and when I mean equal points, I mean 6 points. Or whatever. I mean, that could be really, really tricky when we're talking about run rate and stuff. There is a possibility. There is a possibility that this could happen, Sid. But, my heart is telling me Afghanistan, but my head is obviously telling me New Zealand. So I think I'm going to stick with West Indies and New Zealand, to go through,
But it wouldn't
First and
surprise me
second.
but it wouldn't surprise me if you have either Afghanistan, West Indies, or Afghanistan or New Zealand, because New Zealand is so damn consistent. I think New Zealand will be number one, and then West Indies and Afghanistan.
But Sid, I think because this tournament is at home, I think West Indies should have enough to qualify from this group. And I mean, they're quite familiar with the conditions. So I think that second spot is probably the one that's going to be interesting between Afghanistan and West Indies. But I think Afghanistan and New Zealand. But I think West Indies, and because this World Cup was at home, if this World Cup was somewhere else around the world, I wouldn't say West Indies are a guaranteed, place to get out of this group. But because it's in the Windies and home ground advantage and stuff, and we try to play it down, but it is quite vital, especially in T20 cricket. So I think the Windies do have enough. It'll be an absolute shock if they don't qualify with the kind of players that they do have. So.
I like what you said earlier about Andre Russell. Andre Russell right now is playing the best cricket of his life. There's no other player world cricket that can get there. And he's going to be the difference, right?
Okay, I think we'll get down to
I
think we'll go down to the final group here. I think we have Group D, which is, and before we get to Group D, I will say that Group C is so far the best group so far. I won't deny that. And we look at Group D, which is got Bangladesh, Nepal, Netherlands, South Africa. Even this group looks quite interesting. So the last two groups seem better than the first two groups, if I have to be honest. So I'm going to go with SA and Sri Lanka off the cuff. But we have to be beware of the Netherlands, because South Africa managed to not qualify when they played so well in the previous T20 World Cup. So we'll have to be careful in Netherlands. But I'm going with SA and Sri Lanka. I don't think SA can make the third time. I don't think they can be 3 times unlucky to Netherlands, guys. Starting with you, Avish.
Is this the favorite group? Is this the most favorite group of the T20 World Cup? Okay, so it's interesting. I mean, what you're saying about SA and Sri Lanka. I mean, a lot of the pundits are calling this the group of death, right? But I mean, if you look at SA, a team like SA, I mean, this group should be a cakewalk for them in with regards to the teams that they are playing. I mean, Sri Lanka. I mean, if you look at their bowling attack, Sri Lanka has quite a decent bowling attack, in their armor. I mean, Hasaranga, you've got Hasaranga with his leg spin. You've got Tikshana, mystery spinner, Patirana. There's another guy, Velalage. I'm not sure if he's going to play. And then obviously the inclusion of Angelo Matthews as well, because I think the selectors were looking at him. And, Sri Lanka haven't actually gone past the group stage in a long time. I think it's been 11 years since they got out of the group. So they were looking at Angelo Matthews actually being, one of them, just adding to that experience. The interesting team for me in this group is obviously Netherlands, and I hate to say it, but I think they're one of the best. They're one of the best, if not the best associate teams. I mean, a team that hasn't got test status as yet. I mean, the way they performed, especially in T20 cricket over the last couple of years, has been sensational. sensational. And I don't want to see them as an upset if they're going to be upsetting the likes of a Sri Lanka or a Bangladesh. I mean, I don't want to see it as an upset because, this team is good. This team is really good. And they've got players that are playing in T20, competitions around the world. But yeah, I mean, SA, they should back themselves to top this group, hey? You've got Bangladesh, who, I mean, I really don't fancy much, eh?
Yeah.
When it comes to this Bangladesh team. Nepal, obviously, I know they've got a big following, eh? And this is their first tournament.
Did they play in the last tournament or not really? I thought they played in the last tournament.
No, they didn't. Yeah, so I know they've got a big following, and there's going to be quite a few fans that's going to be coming down here as well to the US. But yeah, I mean, SA, if I look at Sri Lanka, Hasaranga, I think he probably, I mean, if you look at Hasaranga and Tikshana, they probably might have enough against the smaller teams with that spin duo.
They
should, hey. And I mean, because I think SA is playing in the US, I think those US pitches will actually suit SA's attack as well,
Yeah.
Those dropping pitches, there's a bit of pace and bounce, and, the batsmen obviously like that as well coming in. A little bit concerned with the fast bowling. Nokia is not in the best of form.
Yeah.
I think probably that the only guy that's actually bowling well in that lineup is probably Rabada. But then you've got the spin, which I think brings SA into this, conversation here with Maharaj and Shamsi. And Maharaj has been so consistent with his with his bowling last couple of years, especially his economy rates. And then obviously the batting. I mean, De Kock, I mean, hopefully he fires in this World Cup. Hasn't had a good time of it in the IPL. Riza Hendricks, finally, he gets his chance. I mean, Bavuma obviously dropped from this lineup, and we all know what happened in the past. We don't want to go back and speak about it. And then you got Markram as captain, which I think this is going to be a big tournament for him. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Markram as a leader, and he gets his opportunity now. But that middle order, I mean, Klaassen, Miller, Stubbs, I mean, that's explosive, eh? That's really explosive. And to me, Stubbs has been one of the best young players this year in the IPL.
Yeah.
I think it's been a breakthrough season for him. And then Klaassen, I mean, probably one of the best, if not the best, T20 batsman in the world at the moment. The way he takes down spin, he's so explosive. I look at this team; they look a lot better. They look a lot better of a side than what they were in previous World Cups because, I think in the previous World Cups it was all about Miller and Miller trying to get them over the line. But I feel now there's a lot more firepower in this team. So yeah, I expect SA to top this group, and probably Sri Lanka. Their bowling is obviously going to get them out of this group in second position as well.
And you, Yuvraj, what's your thoughts?
I would also go with SA and Sri Lanka, but I kind of feel Sri Lanka have the most balanced side.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good all-rounders. SA, I think they would do really well in the American matches, but I think they're going to struggle if they move to the Caribbean. So they'll get past round 2 maybe, but I can't see them going all the way. Bangladesh, an aging side, they've had their day, unfortunately. They're falling into the same trap India had. They don't want to make the change when it's necessary. And but I look at this group. To me, it's an obvious SA to top, Sri Lanka second. But disappointed that Brevis is kind of being sidelined. But he really probably hasn't deserved this spot. So yeah.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? I was listening to on Crick Buzz. People were saying Bangladesh would be the you know what's so bad about Bangladesh? People on Crick Buzz are even saying if Bangladesh even win matches in this group, they actually have been calling it an upset, considering how bad Bangladesh are playing. So who would have thought a team that's played for so long are calling them the team that can make upsets?
Can I just say something?
Sure.
Can I just say something? I think Bangladesh, when you talk about T20 cricket, they probably have had one of the worst records when it comes to T20 cricket. I think when you look at Bangladesh, they're a very defensive side in the way they bowl, and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're really good in home conditions. And when it comes to a defensive kind of bowling strategy, they do have that. But the one thing that they do lack in their lineup is firepower. That's what they do lack. And that's probably one of the reasons why I don't really fancy them much. I wouldn't be surprised if Netherlands beat Bangladesh in this tournament.
Of course. Yeah,
because
I
I've
agree
been
with you
so
on that.
impressed with Netherlands, Sid. I mean, over the last couple of years and the way they've actually grown on the side. So I think in this group here, it's probably going to be it's probably going to be SA, Sri Lanka, Netherlands, Bangladesh, and Nepal for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Sri Lanka, as I said, they've got a good bowling attack, but the one thing that also I don't see a lot of in their lineup is firepower, and I think the omission of Rajapaksa came at quite a bit of a shock for a lot of the fans, because I mean he's the one guy that can clear the ropes, and I think the teams that can clear the ropes consistently in this World Cup is going to go far. It's really going to be important to maximize that power play and try and get as much runs as possible. Because, I mean, if you get a good start with your openers, let's just say, for instance, you get 70 or 80 in the power play. It really sets it up for the rest of the batting lineup, to come in. And the middle order is not under so much of pressure. So, yeah, that's how I see this group going. I mean, it looks pretty straightforward for SA and Sri Lanka,
But Avish, I don't want to depress you, but like if SA gets complacent and Netherlands pull the bogey on them, you might have a situation that you might have maybe a Sri Lanka and Bangladesh going through this group. Or Sri Lanka and Netherlands, I mean. So we must be careful, eh?
No, of course, absolutely. But I do feel, I mean, you gotta learn from your mistakes in the past.
Yeah, you got to.
When I look at that last World Cup, I mean, a lot of people were talking about SA doing well. But if I look at that World Cup, I mean, they didn't really have a really good balance in the team. I think there was a lot of focus on Miller. I think in the last 2 years, I think Klaassen has actually overtaken Miller in terms of power hitting and the amount of scores that you can get over. I don't think Miller is the most important player in this team at the moment. So if I look at form, I would say Stubbs and Klaassen are in much better form than Miller. So he's not the main guy anymore in this lineup. So I'd be interested to see if Rickleton can get a game, but obviously that is you've obviously got to sacrifice a bowler there as well.
Yeah.
But I look at this team; they look quite balanced in terms of the bowling and what is expected of the top order. So yeah, I mean that first game against Sri Lanka is really, really vital. But having said that, because it's in the US, it should suit SA. It should suit SA, and they've had a pretty good record against Sri Lanka in tournaments, gone by. Yeah. So, yeah, SA and Sri Lanka to get out of this group.
Yeah, same here. Yuvraajh, I wanted to ask you something. You mentioned something about the USA earlier, about something about the fast bowlers. Which bowler were you referring to out of the bowlers from here? Ali Khan. Oh, Ali Khan. Okay. I'll be looking out for him then. I just want to check here. Sorry?
He's got such amazing control of swing. He's got amazing control of swing. I don't see too many of the major nations having a bowler of that skill.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'll be looking out for him. I must have to check something here with the groups actually. I need to actually go back to that groups here again just to try and see. Okay, let me go back to share this tab. So USA were playing from the very top of this group, weren't they? Oh yeah, of course. That's why I said big. Sorry for laughing, Yuvraj, when you mentioned India and USA. I just found it a bit bizarre. So forgive me, man. Okay,
like I said,
back here.
I expect them to be upset. I expect everybody to laugh when I say it. But when the results come in, I expect them to wonder, whoa, thank God.
But Yuvraj, pardon?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what Yuvraj is saying, because I mean, if they win that first game against Canada, which I expect them to win, they're going to have a lot of confidence going into the next game. So, Pakistan is probably the side that's got to watch out in this group, because I mean, they're not coming into this tournament, with the best of form. I think they just got smashed by England a couple of days ago. If I look at this Pakistani batting lineup, it doesn't seem to me they're a team that actually goes after big totals in a sense. I think they quite content with scoring like 160, 170, 180 around and expect their bowlers to bail them out. But however, your bowler's not going to bail you out in every single game. So I think that's where it becomes interesting. So they ease a lot of jeopardy. They ease a lot of jeopardy in this group if you look at it. And I do think Ireland is probably the team that's gonna cause that could potentially cause Pakistan a scare, because they did beat them in a warm-up game prior to the England series. They won the first game. So I think Ireland will be quietly confident of turning over Pakistan, quietly confident.
I remember they did that in the first T20 World Cup, actually. Oh, sorry, Yuvraajh?
I said I think Ireland and the US. Ireland's obviously been around a lot longer than the US, so a lot more experience. But I just look at the two sides. I look at the structure, the way they build their innings, and the explosivity of players. I think the US have one up there.
Okay, what I will say before we wrap off here on my side is that anyone that does bet on US going through that first group is going to make a lot of money. So those odds are going to be really high. So, but I would love to. Pardon?
I'm seriously considering.
Yeah, but I haven't watched US play, so therefore I will respect your views. And once again, I'm sorry if I laughed. It's just like it just took me it took me by surprise, and I'm sure it took you by surprise too, Avish. Yeah,
it's gonna take everyone by surprise. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Avish.
Yeah, I just want to say something. You look at Pakistan last two tournaments. There's always an upset when it comes to Pakistan. Somewhere along the line, there's going to be an upset.
But did you notice they went through?
The more UV is talking about it, the more I can see it happening with Pakistan, because you never know what you're going to get. They probably could play the best game ever against India, but come unstuck against the USA or Ireland, because that's what you associate Pakistan with. That is what you associate Pakistan with. This chaos, and I think they've changed more coaches than I've actually changed genes in the last couple of years. I think they've had about 6 different coaches. So this is the chaos and madness of Pakistan cricket. Yeah, it's chaotic. Okay. It's absolutely chaotic, and they could easily go on a run here, and make it to a semi-final or final. That's how it is with Pakistan. It's so hard. It really is so hard to actually predict how Pakistan are going to perform.
But let's look at the consistency of Pakistan, despite how chaotic they are. In the Dubai World Cup, they made it to the semifinals. Okay, fine. In Australia, they made it through the semifinals because of our goof up against Netherlands. But my point is, whenever but with Pakistan, when they know they're in crap, they play a lot better. When they lost to India and they lost to Zimbabwe, then they started to wake up, And so I wouldn't write off Pakistan. In fact, I would say if India lose to Pakistan, then I think India will have to really watch out. I mean, they could actually be doing another disappointment, but I don't see it happening. But if it does happen, then... But I'll keep to India and Pakistan. I think that's my final wrap out of this whole chat. Any final words between you two? Starting with you, Yuvraajh.
I have one question for both of you.
Pardon?
Who wins this? I have one question for both of you.
Sure.
First you, Avish. Who wins this?
Oh, okay.
I wish you'd ask me this question later on the tournament. But you know what? If I'm looking at the sides at the moment, look, if West Indies win this could be a real, injection in the game, and everybody wants to see Windies do well in this tournament. I wouldn't write them off when it comes to winning this tournament. But I think oh gosh, you really can't look past England, Australia, and India. When you look at these squads, I hate to say it. And South Africa obviously going in as dark horses, but I think SA have a chance now than they've had in the last couple of World Cups. This is probably one of their best chances to make a final or a semi-final, and go far in this tournament. With the kind of team that they have, Sid. I mean, if you look at previous World Cups, and I have to bring it up, unfortunately, Bavuma's inclusion in this side really hampered this batting lineup. Bavuma being included in this T20 side. And we did see how unbalanced this team was with Bavuma being in there. I mean, Bavuma, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but he's certainly not a T20 player, and certainly not an international T20 player of any sort. So, we could see how this this team was hampered by Bavuma, and there was so much pressure on that middle order, especially because they were losing wickets early every game. So I think with Reza Hendricks and de Kock, I think he brings a bit of solidity to this batting lineup. But I don't want to give you my finalist winner. I'd rather give you my semi-finalists. I'd rather give you my semi-finalists now.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so it's going to be India, Australia, the West Indies. There's something about the West Indies this time around, and South Africa. Those are my 4 semi-finalists.
I like your patriotism there, Avish. Okay, I'm going to tell you which team I'd like to see winning. India and South Africa tagged into one. Second choice would be either Pakistan, West Indies. Then third can be New Zealand, and the rest I just don't care about. And you, Yuvraj?
I think the West Indies will pull a big upset and win this tournament. If it's not them, I would say South Africa.
Okay, I think on that patriotic note, I think it's pretty much a wrap on my side. Thanks so much for your time, guys.
Cheers, man. Enjoy the cricket. Chat to you soon.
You too.